morning and welcome to Still Up with 6, where the conversation continues and we answer your questions in real time. Of course, we've been getting a lot of questions about the stimulus checks. We've been getting a lot of questions about when that's supposed to arrive, as well as other things like stay-at-home orders and local numbers. But first, before we get started, we do want to say good morning to Chris as we give some people some time to log on. Hello, good morning to you, Chris.
Hey, good morning to you. Happy Wednesday, Heidi. Yeah, we're going to let some more people get on here before we start answering the questions. Typically, we don't start answering questions until they start coming into the comments because it takes people a little while to join us this morning. That's okay. Happy Wednesday, and thanks for joining me here on Still Up with 6. If you want to get things started with some local numbers, if you've got those handy.
Yeah, Brazos County continues to have the most cases in our area. They have 131 cases, 3 deaths total. McLennan County has 78 cases as of this morning, 4 deaths total. And Brazos County has 176 with 16 deaths, and Bell County is the one that has 131 cases and 3 deaths total. Waco Mayor Kyle Deaver and other officials will be holding a press conference today virtually. That's going to be at 1:30. We're expected to learn more about their cases in McLennan County, as well as any new updates on stay-at-home orders, among many other things. So be sure to download our 6 News app. We will have that streaming on Facebook, on our website, and on the app as well.
Yeah, and Heidi, we're not sure of the content of the update here from McLennan County, but we are hoping for more good news. We mentioned yesterday that they didn't see any new cases, no new deaths, and that was very encouraging as we continue to hope that the curve continues to flatten. Hoping for more good news today coming from Waco Mayor Kyle Deaver, so I'll be interested into the content of that press conference. It's something that they do quite often in counties across Texas, but certainly McLennan County was seeing a sharp rise, and to see that they've had a little bit of a drop-off there and no new cases was certainly very encouraging, and hopefully for more good news coming out of McLennan County today.
It really was positive, and I think that's what we need to focus on right now. We also want to focus on 72 people have recovered from the virus in Central Texas, so that's also another good thing to note as we continue to battle this pandemic. The most recent thing now is churches and houses of worship being considered as essential services. That's the latest coming from Governor Greg Abbott. It's something we discussed all morning long on our Talker of the Day.
Yeah, certainly, Heidi, that's a new thing happening here in Texas, and it's something that certainly is going to be a point of discussion as to what should and should not be considered essential. We still do encourage people, if you can attend virtual worship ceremonies, please do. Please stay at home. Please do not gather in churches. We've seen cases across the country of different church gatherings where people have then spread the infection. Of course, we know in so many churches proximity is so tight that we encourage people to stay home, even if it is considered an essential service to stay open. We know that you guys miss your church families, you miss the pomp and the circumstance of going to church, and I completely understand that. But right now, it's so important to stay home, to continue to flatten that spread of the curve. And you can really worship wherever, whether that's at home, whether that's virtually, whether that's with family members that live in the same household.
Yeah, those are all good points, Chris, especially when you think about, all the options and ways that you can do so without having to physically go to church. But that is the very latest coming from Governor Greg Abbott. He announced that yesterday during his press conference. It's just one of the many steps that I think the governor is taking in order to help slowly reopen our state. I think a lot of people are just wanting that normalcy, but I think if we do it too quickly or too soon, we're going to see a second spike of cases. So just keep that in mind. The stay-at-home orders are still in place until further notice, so keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, and good morning to Melissa, good morning to Carol, and good morning to Jenny. Thank you guys for joining us, and good morning to Shayna as well. We appreciate all of you joining us here on Still Up with 6. Good morning to you, Sam. We've got answers to your questions, so keep those questions coming in the comments, whether that's about the stimulus check, whether that's about unemployment, whether that's about symptoms of the coronavirus. That is what we are here for every single morning, to answer your questions at home. Heidi, I'm going to go really quickly through things that I remind people every single day, but it continues to be the most commonly asked question in my inbox. Are we going to have to pay it back, the stimulus check? Remember, you're not going to have to pay it back on next year's taxes. It's not going to come out of next year's tax return. am I eligible if I'm on SSI, Social Security, disability, military benefits? Yes, you are. Do I have to do anything? No. They have your information on file, whether that's through the mail or whether that is direct deposit. I just want to get those out of the way every single morning because I continue to have those questions in my inbox, which is fine. It's completely understandable. Not everyone joins us every single morning. And of course, sometimes we have new viewers every single day, but it continues to be 4 or 5 times a day I get that question from people, and I try to get back to people individually, but if you are wondering about those different things, those are the answers to those questions.
And also another question we keep getting is, when am I going to get my stimulus check, right? I think anyone who hasn't gotten it yet is wondering that every single morning. If you're getting it via direct deposit, for the next 2 weeks they will be depositing those into your bank accounts via direct deposit, and anything on file from the IRS after you filed your taxes, if you do have a direct deposit account there, that is how you'll get your money. If you're expecting a paper check, they said early May, but we've actually seen the first round of checks starting to get mailed out as of Monday, so keep that in mind as well and remain patient. They say the whole process could take up to 5 months to get everyone their money. And again, IRS has a tracker now on their website for you to see where your check is and to update your information.
Yeah, and I want to discuss something here briefly too, Heidi. Why it's so important to be staying home right now and continue to take this seriously. Health experts predict there could be potentially, and I don't want to spread fear here and doom and gloom, but there could potentially be, this is not necessarily saying this is definitely going to happen, but there could be another spike come the fall. So it's important right now we try to get this curve down as soon as possible, and staying home is working right now. We see that it's working in different areas across the country. It's working right here in McLennan County and Bell County. We're seeing fewer and fewer cases. So I know that you and I have discussed off the air this potential spike in cases come the fall, and it's something that we have to consider in the back of our mind. Now, I don't want to spread fear and say this is definitely going to happen, but health experts, leading health experts, are saying there could be another potential spike in the fall.
And I think it's because people aren't taking this serious. This is what Jenny's saying. She's saying, as they should, when I'm at the store, no masks, no gloves, babies and kids in carts. Kids should not be allowed during this time. So Jenny's weighing in saying she's still seeing families going to the stores, being close to each other, not covering their face with some sort of bandana or mask or some sort of covering. And I agree, Jenny. Like you, I've seen people at the stores or whole families. You know, I get there are certain circumstances. A lot of single parents have little kids, have to bring them to the store because they have no other option. I completely understand that, but when I'm seeing mom and dad and all the kids at the store, it's really frustrating to see, and that's when I agree, people aren't taking this as serious as they should, and I think that's why leading health experts are saying potentially there could be a second round of spikes in cases.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's start addressing some questions here. Melissa's saying she thinks her check will be mailed. She filed in 2018, but not 2019. We do want to remind people, if you didn't file in 2019, that's okay. They will take your most recent tax filing. So whether that's in 2018 or 2017, they will take your most recent tax filing. So for anyone who's a little bit concerned because they didn't file this year, just know that they have your information on file from previous years that you filed, or if you're on benefits that don't require you to file taxes, they have your information through your benefits.
Now, Chris, it is Earth Day today, and your Verify is really interesting because it's a positive one. I know you've been getting a lot of questions that are a little bit negative, but this one is pretty positive, and I kind of wanted you to touch on that for people this morning.
Yeah, well, happy Earth Day to you, and it's interesting because we've seen those viral photos of, a clear LA skyline for the first time, of empty downtown Manhattan streets for the very first time. People have noticed that there's higher visibility in cities. So we wanted to know, has there really been an effect on the overall air pollution and an effect on our environment? And the answer to that question is yes. They ran the numbers, and there has been at least a temporary effect on the environment, quite significant as well. So that was really encouraging to see on this Earth Day, that there is some positivity coming about people staying at home. I know that it's tough for people who are out of work and are desperate to get back to work, but less people on the roads and less people out and about has actually been a good thing for the environment. So if we're looking for silver linings here, that would be one of them.
Yeah, and I'm glad you were able to verify that, because I personally have seen just the trees growing. Everything's so green outside. If you've taken a walk with your family, you've probably seen it as well. Mike says, I checked the IRS website and found out that my bank account information was wrong and mailed, but my address was correct. What should I do? Well, Mike, I'm not quite understanding if the check was already distributed to you via direct deposit, but I would contact the IRS for that and possibly remove the direct deposit information from the website. That way they can just mail it to you since your address is correct.
Ernest saying if you owe the IRS, you still get a check. Yeah, if you owe back taxes, you will still get a stimulus check. The only thing debt-wise that this could be taken away from the IRS is back child support. When will Social Security recipients get their checks? Rachel, good question. I can tell you this. It varies depending on the individual and depending on certain situations. If you get your Social Security benefits through the mail, you will get it sometime in May. If you have direct deposit set up through Social Security, you can expect that any day now.
And Mangia Carey saying, I got a message saying they deposited the stimulus on the 15th, but I never set up a bank account. I would contact them and see where that money went and which account it went to. And just double check your bank account and see maybe they do have the right one from filing taxes in previous years. But if not, I would contact the IRS.
Yeah, absolutely. And it could be a case of they had other information from your tax filings. Possibly they had your mailing address on file there. So however that you filed your taxes, that information and deposited could be mailed. It doesn't necessarily mean they put it in a wrong bank account. Although we've received reports of different bank accounts or wrong bank accounts, we haven't yet independently verified if that's happening through the IRS. So that is something that our investigative teams and our verified teams across the country continue to look into. But I don't think yet we've independently verified if that's happening.
And as always, you can send your questions to Chris. He is always verifying new claims that you may be seeing online. And we have his contact information for you. You can message him directly to his Facebook page, Chris Rogers, or you can email him. His email's right there on your screen.
I just on a lighter note, I want to address this question from Dora because it's a really good question. She said, I have a weird question. The little song you play in the morning, what is it saying? My husband asks me that every day and I keep telling him I don't know. Can you tell me the words? If you can believe it, Dora, you are not the first person to ask that question. I've gotten that question so many times. I have tried to contact the artist who we got it from, the royalty-free artist. I've tried to contact our creative producer. None of us can figure it out. I will continue on that quest to figure it out for you, Dora. But as for right now, we don't know the answer either. We don't know the answer, but it's one we've gotten often. I will say I've made up my own lyrics. I think it says Channel 6 News. It just sounds like that, but I don't know. We don't know the official words. Well, keep those questions coming to me through my inbox as we log off here. Thank you guys so much for joining us on another edition here of Still Up with 6. Remember to stay healthy, stay positive, stay home, and we're going to get through this together. Yes, we will. And, of course, we'll see you guys tomorrow morning, 4:30 to 7 a.m. on Texas Today, then on all social media platforms for Still Up with 6.